Let's talk about how we can do fractions, decimals, percents, and circle graphs in an activity. So what you can do is have your students bring in some candy. These are some easy ones. Or you can use something like the wheel of names and just have a spinner for them to collect their information. Typically, students like candy, so you can do it with candy. So each student is going to need whatever they're going to use to collect their information and this worksheet, which you can get below. So they're going to sort and count what they have. Now, if you have younger students, then you may want to put them in groups of 5 and ensure that each student only has 10 or an increment that you know they'll be able to work with. So once they have sorted and they have labeled and counted out theirs, then they can go ahead and find the total. So this is going to be important as our next step is going to be to find the fractions, which is the amount they have over the total. Then they're going to convert that into a decimal, which for us is a middle school skill to do by hand, which is why it's important to keep the numbers smaller. And then they're going to make that into a percent. And our students are taught how to make a percent from a decimal or a fraction so they could pick. If they are using the fraction, they're going to get a denominator of 100. If they're using the decimal, they're going to move it 2 places to the right to get the percent. The bottom total line is important because when they add up the percent, they should get 100%. When they add up the decimals, they should get 1. When they add up the fractions, they should get the same number in the numerator and the denominator. So the next step, if you teach middle schoolers, is going to be to take these and put them in a circle graph. Here, it would be great if they have the same color pencils or markers or crayons, and they can take and just label it what they colored it on their circle graph. So if you want to take this one step further, your students can be put in groups, and you can then take and have them get their group information, and it's on the bottom of the worksheet. Once they have their group information, this is where it's helpful if you give them like 10 each. They can go ahead and do the same thing. They can find the fraction, decimal, and percent for their group information. This can create a lot of really great conversations once they fill out all the information. You can ask them questions like, how is the group circle different from your individual circle? Why do you think that is? What do you think would happen if we made a class circle? We could also ask questions like, what do you think would happen if we added more people's numbers? These are good conversations, especially if you talk about probability or sample size with your students to get them thinking about why is it different, what's the same. Another thing you can do is have the groups compare to each other. See if any groups have about the same amount or different amounts. So if this is an activity that you're interested in doing in your classroom, the worksheet is linked below. You can go ahead and grab it. It's on my blog and it's free.